did Paddy Pimblett? Did he win that?
There are a lot of people screaming blue murder, robbery. I thought he lost it, but when you watch each round individually, some of them were a lot closer than you'd think. I thought he lost 2 of the rounds. I can't specifically remember which 2 rounds it was. But they were close. And the issue is that when each round individually is close, like let's say we have round 1, and remember Jared Gordon landed quite a few shots. The first one was the clearest one. Jared Gordon clearly won that. The third round, Jared Gordon was all over him, but didn't really do anything. He was leaning on him, pulling a dragon out of him. I think he might have got him down, but didn't really land much damage. So that then it becomes a much closer round than the untrained eye might think. You might be looking at that, going, "Oh, but he was all over him." Yeah, but we're not looking at that. We're looking at what damage was done, what impactful striking, what impactful grappling. He was pulling and dragging out of him, and he was all over him, but he didn't really get any closer to submitting him or knocking him out. So now you got to actually pick apart how many strikes landed from him, so it was really close. And when that happens, the round can be actually scored either way when it's that close. And if you have 1 or 2 rounds like that, at the end of the fight, if it doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go, you can't scream robbery, because there was a couple of rounds were razor close. So it's like, really it wasn't a robbery. It's just that under the scoring criteria, those were difficult rounds to score. So I could see a case where a couple of those rounds, Paddy Pimblett could have dicked. I was surprised that all 3 judges, 2 of the judges, would have given it. I thought, the odds would have been that Gordon would have got the result. What really was confusing to me was the first round. I think a couple of judges gave it to Paddy Pimblett, or at least one judge, maybe 2. And I thought that was the round where he got clocked a little bit. So it was like, sometimes you'll just get that, when that happens, okay, that's just a little bit of bad officiating, which, you can't legislate for. But yeah, you'll get fights like that. And there seems to be a lot. Anytime I wake up and I look at Twitter and I scream, "This is the worst robbery in UFC history," I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm going to be reading this all day on my Twitter feed. And yeah, usually it's the case where you watch it back and it's like, no, nobody knows how this fight is supposed to be scored. This is a razor close fight. And it could have gone either way.
And a lot of people obviously are kind of going on him as not the next Conor McGregor, but like a new character.
Well, he's charismatic.
He's charismatic. The haircut, everything.
He stands out and he's unique. And, the sport really needs that, because they're sanitizing it compared to what it used to be. Like, they brought in that whole thing where, they basically wear a uniform now. They used to just wear whatever the hell they wanted in there. They'd have sponsors and blaze it over their shorts. They'd have like Anderson Silva had, you knew it was Anderson Silva. Like, he has his own unique look. And now they just have, they all have to wear the same thing. It's all very sanitized, and there's not too many superstars, not too many characters. It's all starting to become a bit monotonous, It's like they're just reeling off all these fighters. It's all identikit fighters, and Paddy Pimblett stands out because he just does things differently. He's a bit wild, a bit reckless, and he gets hit. He's in exciting fights, even though he's not fighting anybody who's at a high level. And I think if he fought any of the top 10, 15...
That's a massive critique of his, actually. They're like, listen, mate, you're not fighting that big of fighters.
I just don't think he's at that level. I think if they put him in against anyone in the top 10, he gets knocked out. Yeah.
And that's like where they need to be careful with him, because he is such a good character right now. He's getting bumps on seats, especially in like UFC in London and all that kind of stuff. People are staying up in Europe to watch the fights in America.
Sells tickets, doesn't he?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's money. Would you have anything to say about fighter pay and all that kind of stuff? Because I know it's quite a massive topic.
Yeah, those guys...
Did you see the slap contest?
Oh, it made me sick. I actually caught a clip of it again today. I saw the one where the guy's face is swollen.
Did you see the one that fell with his arms like that?
Yeah, that just turns my stomach. And talk about a PR own goal after Dana White being caught on camera smacking the face off his missus. And like, that guy is just a filthy toe rag. He's sitting there table like next to the stage where they're doing this slap contest, and he's losing his shit like this is the best thing ever. Like, mate, those people are ruined. Like, they're Phil Baroni, the week of the Dana White thing. Did you hear about Phil Baroni? Do you know that?
No, I haven't.
Phil Baroni fought in the UFC years ago, and there would have been a lot of like steroid abuse back in those days. So he's quite a juiced up guy, but guy who's been through a lot of wars, and there'd be a lot of brain trauma and stuff. He murdered his girlfriend.
Oh, and his son Is he
No,
the guy?
I
That's
think
the
it was
WrestleMania guy,
it was a
right?
different guy. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So Phil Baroni basically did a fight with his, I think his missus cheated on him or something. She told him, and he basically picked her up and fucking threw her into the shower, and she died. And you're gonna see more things like this now as a result of this fucking ridiculous slap thing, because those guys are just, they're coming out of there with trauma on that brain. The human body is not designed to take that shit. Like, people look at MMA and they look at ground and pound, and to the untrained eye, it's like, Jesus Christ, that is visually brutal. But the reality of it is, as an official, we're in there and we're watching these guys are defending, they're throwing shots. Some shots are getting through, some shots are landing. As soon as a couple start landing and causing a bit of an issue for the fighter, you're watching them like a hawk. And if they go down and their eyes roll, you're in. You're in. Save that guy. Get him out of there. Stop.
You've seen fighters as well, like go like trying to beg the ref to stop the game because they're like, I'm gonna stop now.
Yeah.
Like,
fighters they'll quit. Like, and they won't admit it because it's an ego thing and a macho thing, but there's an unspoken rule, an unspoken thing that goes on in there is a fighter will usually, when you're reffing, you'll know a fighter has had enough because he'll turtle up. That's his signal. That's his body. He might be doing it subconsciously. It might not be a conscious decision. I just need to get out of here. But if they stop intelligently defending themselves, which is the phrase we always use in the rule set, they have to be intelligently defending themselves. That's not really covering up. That's moving. You're trying to escape that position. Fuck hitting people back. You're trying to get out of there. You're trying to constantly do the right things technically. But there's a point comes when a fighter has taken a couple of shots and they'll stop doing those things and they'll start doing this. Get him out. Done. Okay. He's done. He's saved. Save him. Live the fight another day. I see. And as a ref, you have to know. You can't stand there and we'll usually give them one instruction. We'll say, improve your position. And if they go, give them a second, see what happens with it.
Yeah.
But if you say improve your position and they take 2 more shots, done. That's him just basically quitting.
Okay.
They're not going to openly admit that they're quitting because no fighter does. But there's always an ejector cord there as a fighter. It's always there. It's a safety net. Just cover up.
Yeah.
And the ref will step. The ref will do his job, and he will step in and save you, and live the fight another day, because nobody needs to be taken.
It's not life or death.
Unanswered shots. So people look at MMA and go, right, that's brutal. But it's not really. They're there, and they have that. Just do that, and it's over. Same with jiu-jitsu.
Aren't there less injuries in professional MMA than there is in boxing or something like that?
There's I remember looking at the stats for deaths a few years ago. Yeah. We had an unfortunate situation here. I think 6 years ago, fighter by the name of João Carvalho died shortly after an MMA bout in Dublin, and there was a whole reform since over the safety standards involved in MMA and blah 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 blah. So we have like the highest safety standards of any sport. Okay. But I remember at the time looking into the amount of deaths in other sports, statistics. I don't think there had been anyone who had died at an MMA bout or as a direct result of one. It had never really happened, and this was an outlier. And then you're looking at boxing. The statistics now, I don't remember the numbers. This is years ago, but the statistics were mind blowing.
Oh yeah,
because boxing, you're basically the head's the main target. In MMA, you could be on the ground grappling. Of course, you could take shots to the head, but the volume of shots you're taking to the head is nothing in comparison to boxing. And when you get knocked down in boxing and your eyes roll and you hit the floor, 10 seconds later, you're back up and you're fighting again. And that's like, hold on, what? He was just knocked down. Like, if that happens to you in MMA, that ref's in on top of you. He sees you rolling back there and your eyes are rolling in your head. You don't get a second go at this, mate. You're done.
Yeah.
Take 3 months off here. You're done for a while. Boxing, it's not the case. It's like, no, you're back up. Now, to be fair, in boxing, what you see a lot more of is you'll see a lot more of corners thrown in the towel.
Yes.
And a lot of boxers are there because they have a place in the hierarchy. I'm a journeyman. He's an upcoming pro. I'm here to basically give him a test, but I'm not here to win. I'm getting paid money. This guy is going to the top. I'm not. There's a bit of a hierarchy there. So as soon as it reaches a point where I'm taking a lot of damage, my corner will throw in a towel. In MMA, no, let me go out with my shield. Let me do the, okay, let me get the shit beat out of me until I can't take anymore.
I'd rather be dragged out, yeah.
You don't want to do a whole lot of that,
No.
It's not good long term, and we circle back to brain trauma and people killing. This thing of guys standing there and literally bears of men, open hand smacking until like 2 or 3 of those and you're done.
Yeah. No, like
intelligently defending yourself with your hands on a fucking table. It makes me sick to look at. It really does.
No,
because I know so many fighters closely, and I've been concussed, and it's horrendous. It's really, really horrendous. It's really bad. And just to know how that feels and how that affects people and what damage that can have on their lives going forward turns my stomach to see something like that. And for Dana White, the man who's sitting there making so much money out of fighters, and now he's making money out of this shit, it's like,
I have no idea how they actually got a license for that.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that's so interesting. So I kind of went about on Twitter just to see what the general conversation is. A lot of people are against it, in fairness.
Yeah.
But then there were some that were going like, no, but these athletes are signing up for this. Like, it's been happening. Like, it's not like Dana White was asleep and then one day goes, I want to start this sport. He didn't start the sport. It was already happening. But whatever, sure. But I think it's more like, I think people tend to forget that not so many of us, but a lot of people are always hoping for that one opportunity, right? And it's like Dana White comes along, UFC, big box, television, all the fucking good stuff. You're gonna say yes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can say no. Like, we all have a choice, but people tend to forget that power dynamic.
Yeah, and there's this on the line, and that moment of fame, that 15 minutes, and
of course, you don't
heads
know.
can be swayed.
Yeah, do you want to be the Conor McGregor of like a slap contest? As in, people are making money off of everything now. So yeah, but like, no, man, I have no idea how he got a license for that.
Yeah, ethically, it doesn't sit right with me at all.
Yeah, yeah. I still see Dana White doing whatever he's doing though. I don't really see a change.
He doesn't
Francis
give a
Ngannou
shit.
left as well.
Yeah, devastated about that, because whoever goes on and wins that heavyweight title now, it's always going to be like, yeah, but he's not really the heavyweight champion, And the UFC was always like, this was the pinnacle. So you'd be in another organization, but if you were the middleweight champion of the UFC, you were the middleweight champion of the world, and you wouldn't be referred to as the middleweight champion of the world if you were like the Bellator or the World Championship or anywhere like that. But now it's like, okay, well, the best guy is somewhere else,
Yeah.
And I think he might have shot himself in the foot. He did a very honourable thing and tried to, get some health insurance and stuff. He tried to negotiate on the behalf of all the other fighters. Like, he's loaded, he doesn't need it, but he tried to bring a lot of things in that would benefit all the other fighters on the roster, because the vast majority of them are on the breadline.
Health insurance is a necessity, especially if you're fighting like with UFC, with the UFC logo on your shorts. There should be a level of reputation, yearly prestige.
That's it. Well, like they do it. Their argument is that you're an independent contractor. We don't need to look after you.
You're a freelancer. You're a freelance fighter.
Yeah, okay. But I can't go off and take X amount of money as a sponsorship from this organization, and I can't fight in Japan. No, I'm tied to you motherfuckers. And if I argue with you, I'll be blacklisted. So it's It's like, and then you sign a 6-fight deal, but they can just cut you at any time.
Yeah,
it's in the contract. Like, and they can just go, do you know what? Fuck you, we're gone. So it's very one way, and they have it. They have the whole system rigged to their gain. They're not going to change it voluntarily. You know what I mean?
No, they're not.
France has tried to negotiate and a few things in the favor of the lower level fighters, the guys who are not earning the big bucks, but they just went, right, see you later, Francis. We don't need you. So it's upsetting, it's saddening, but it is what it is.